Hey guys, we are going to be doing a little lesson here. This is going to be compound inequalities. So, um, hopefully, if you are in class here, you're going to be able to do these stuff on the worksheet. If you're not in class and the worksheet's probably sitting in my room, you're going to have to use the PDFs, and then you can do them on Cami and you can show them to me, turn them in that way. No big deal. So, without further ado, I'm going to get rid of my ugly mug here. Peace, people. And we're going to go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to do is, because with what we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about compound inequalities. And usually on these compound ones, since there's more than one thing at the same time, you are going to actually do the graph first, and then you're going to give the set notation second, so you make sure you only have the correct set notation answer sitting there. So I want to practice how to write an equation from a graph. So here's the first one, a letter A. And remember, with set notation, we have x such that. Now on this one, remember the x is first, and then my dot here is on the 1. So I have the 1. Then I just need to figure out which inequality sign to put here. Now, since it's an open circle, I know it does not have the line underneath. And then it is using the left arrow. It's using this arrow. So that means I am going to be using a left-hand sign. Okay, so there's the first one. Now, the second one. We have x such that. This one, it's x, and our dot is on the 4. Now, on this particular one, it is a closed dot, so I do have to have the or equal to line. And then remember, we simply look at the arrow that's being shaded, and that is the right arrow. So that is a greater than sign. Okay? That would be x such that x is greater than or equal to 4. Now, if we are in class, I need the sub to go ahead and pause the video and hand out the worksheet. Worksheet number 1. That is basically writing inequalities from a graph. If we are having to do this from Canvas because we are not in class, I need you to click on worksheet number 1, and I need you to turn that into a Cami doc, and I need you to finish that worksheet. So if we're in class, let's go ahead and make sure we give the students, I would say, about 5 minutes to complete these problems. Go ahead and pause the video now. All right, the answers. So the answers, there you go. Get that out of there. These are the answers, so go ahead and pause the video and allow the students a chance to check their answers from the worksheet. All right, so that is that aspect of it. Now, if we're in class, go ahead and flip that worksheet over. You can use the backside for notes. Otherwise, we need to get out a piece of paper for our notes today. So go ahead and have the students and get out a piece of paper. Now, what we're going to be looking at today is problems that have more than one inequality. Okay? So we're going to look at compound inequalities. Now, what we're going to see with our problems is that there's going to be more than one at the same time. There are two types. There are and statements, and there are or statements. Okay? Our steps are such. Okay? Number 1, we're going to solve each part of our compound inequality. So you're going to take both those problems. You're going to solve them just like we already understand how to solve them. Now, I would advise, and you'll see me do this, you're going to put your answers, you're going to have them rearranged like we've already been doing set notation, so that the X is first and the number second, irregardless of how it shows up. The second step is we're going to graph our compound inequality. So we're going to put those things on a graph. Now, our graphs are going to look somewhat like this one right here. Now, on this particular one, okay, this little example one here, we had an x is greater than 15. So x is greater than 15. There's 15, open circle, and it went to the right. And we ended up with an answer of x is less than or equal to 22. We had a closed dot here, and then that's a less than, so it went to the left. Okay, and with this particular one, that was an and statement. They are both there, so we shaded the middle section. Okay, so that's what we have there. Now, what we're going to see is you're going to graph them both, and then once we get the graph done, we're going to be able to write our solution set. Now listen, if the solution set part doesn't make complete sense, that is okay at this point in time. We will cover that some more on Thursday and Friday, but we have to be doing these first two. Okay, you've got to be getting this section where you're solving, and you can put it on the graph correctly. Okay, if you still have questions about the solution set, we can fix that on Thursday, Friday. So let's go ahead and look at our first type. Now, our first type, and these two are and statements. And you should be writing these down. Now, with an and statement, both parts must be true. Okay? So, when we're looking at the graph, we're going to shade where there's two lines. Okay, we're going to shade where there's two lines. So, for this first one, we have y minus 3 is greater than or equal to negative 11. And, so it's already split up, y minus 3 is less than or equal to negative 8. So I have two problems to do separately. So, for this first one, there's my y. Negative 3 doesn't have a y, so I'm going to add 3 to both sides. That's 0. Now I get y is greater than or equal to negative 8. Okay, that one's done. I got this one. Got a minus 3. I'm going to add 3 to both sides again. Now I get y is less than or equal to negative 5. Well, do our graph. Negative 8 is here. Negative 5 is here. And 0 is over here. Remember, I like to mark 0. You know, if all the numbers are on the graph, it's no big deal. I'm making my own. I like to mark the 0. So, this first part, y is greater than or equal to 8. That is a closed dot. And that is the right arrow. So, this one is going to the right. Now, notice I didn't just shade right there. I didn't shade right there because I have more than one to deal with at the same time. So, I'm going to deal with the second one. That is a closed dot because it's got the or equal to line. And this one is the left arrow. So this one's going left. Now, remember, this is an and statement. So both of them have to be true. So remember we said the graph, we're going to shade where there's two lines. So right here in the middle is where there's two lines. And that would be the correct graph. Our answer in set notation, when it is a middle section, looks a little different. Okay, so variables y, so it's y such that. Now, I have to put this in order because there's two dots that I'm dealing with. I put it in order, small one to the big one. So I have negative 8, and then in the middle is the shaded part. So I put my y, and then on the right is the negative 5. And then I fill this in with versions of less than. So you got to pay attention whether it was less than or equal to. So that's a closed dot. So that's less than or equal to. That is also a closed dot. That is less than or equal to. Now again, like I said, if this last part where I'm writing the answer. Is it making complete sense today? It is okay. We need to at least be able to solve these and put them on the graph for today. For the quiz, you need to be able to do that last part. Okay, letter B. Now, this one is written in a special way. Okay, it's a compound inequality. When it's written like this, where there are two inequality signs in the same problem, this is an automatic and statement. Now, the problem is we have to break it up into the two parts. So the middle section goes with both. So this middle section goes with both parts. Okay, so the first problem takes the left side and the middle. So I have 6 is less than or equal to r plus 7. And the second problem, it takes the middle section and the right side. So it's going to be r plus 7 is less than 10. So notice that middle part goes with both. And now we solve our problems. This one has an r on the right, so I go minus 7 on both sides. Get negative 1 is less than or equal to r. Now remember, for graphing purposes, we would do our little set notation. We'd rearrange this, eating the r. Okay, and I go on to the next one. So I'm minus 7 on both sides. And I get r is less than 3. So let's put this on a graph. So here's negative 1, here's 0, here's 3. Now, that is a closed dot on negative 1, and that is the right arrow. So that one's going to the right. On the 3, that is an open dot, and that is the left arrow. So it's going to the left. Once again, the two lines are in the middle. So this is another middle section, and I will tell you that a lot of our and statements are like this one. Okay, so set notation are such that. Now, this is an and statement, and it's in the middle. So I go smallest number, letter, oops, almost put a Y again, my R, and then my biggest number. And we use versions of less than. That's a closed dot, so it's less than or equal to. That's an open dot, so I use a less than. Okay, and that would be my final answer. So those are and statements. Again, and statements, we shade where there are two lines. Both things have to be true. The second type that we have, and notice the word in between these, is or. These are or statements. Now, on an or statement, okay, at least one has to be true. Now, where do we shade? We're going to shade anywhere there is a line. Okay, anywhere there is a line is where you shade for this one. Now, let's go ahead and look at the first one. Now, this is my opinion. I think these are easier to solve because we don't have to worry about breaking up the problem like those other ones did. So for this first one, here's my first problem. A is on the left, move the 1. So minus 1 on both sides. And I get A is less than 3. There's that. My other inequality, A minus 1 is greater than or equal to 3. It's a negative 1, so I'm going to go add 1. A is greater than or equal to 4. Okay, so I have them done. Remember, this is an or statement. And now we're going to graph it. Okay, we have 0s here, 3s here, 4s here. So this first one, open circle on 3. That is a left arrow, so it goes left. For this one, that is a closed circle on 4. That is the right arrow, so it goes right. Now remember, it's an or statement. Where do we shade? Anywhere there is a line. So I'm going to shade all of this left side, and I'm going to shade in all of the right side. And a good number of our problems that are or statements do look like this. Now, it does have 2, and they are separate. So when it's actually easier to write these for set notation. They're separate problems. It's A such that, and then we're just going to write the 2 problems down. A is less than 3. You've got to put the word or in between them. A is greater than or equal to 4. Okay, and that's it for that one. Now let's look at the next one. Now again, here's my or statement. So it's breaking up my 2 problems. And this one's kind of crazy. That one's already done. There's nothing to solve. There, it's already finished for me. X is less than or equal to 9. The second problem here, we need to solve. So we need to minus 2 on both sides. That is 0. Drop it like it's hot. So I get 4x is less than 8. Divide both sides by 4. And x is less than 2. So I have my 2 problems here. Let's go ahead and put them on the graph. Now this one, 0's here, 2's here, 9's here. So I look at this first one. Close dot on 9. And it goes to the left. This is an open dot on 2. And it also goes to the left. Well, where do we shade? Anywhere there is a line. So there's a line from that 9 all the way over. And I want you to notice that the 2, whoa, I just lost that, undo. That the 2 gets covered in the shading. So 2 is actually one of the solutions now because it gets done with the shading. Okay, so my answer actually only has one endpoint. So when I write my set notation, this would be x such that I only have to write this one down. X is less than or equal to 9. It is unnecessary and redundant to put or x is less than 2. It's just x is less than or equal to 9. Okay, so let's try a few of those on your own. I'm going to have the sub pause these as we go through. I will go over them in detail, so if you are still unsure, it's okay. We're going to get there. Okay, let's look at this particular one. Okay, so would please pause the video and give the students 3 minutes to complete this problem. All right, this is an and statement. And let's solve this. So p's on the right. I'm going to add 8 to both sides. So this is going to be 12 is less than or equal to p. Now remember, because we're going to have to graph, we're going to want to rearrange this, eating the p. So there's that one. Let's solve the second one. Add 14 to both sides. And p is less than or equal to 16. Okay, so we have them solved. Now let's get it graphed. Now 0's here somewhere. There's 12. There's 16. Okay, so for this one, close dot on 12 because it's got the or equal to line. And that's the right arrow, so it goes to the right. Close dot on the 16. That's the left arrow, so it goes to the left. And this is an and statement. So remember, we're looking for 2 lines. So we shade in the middle. Again, most of our and statements are shaded in the middle. Doesn't mean all of them are, because we will get some examples of ones that are. So set notation, okay, it's in the middle. Remember, we have that special way of writing it. P such that smallest number, shading is in the middle, so then the P is in the middle, and 16, and we use versions of less than. So the 12 is a closed dot, so that's less than or equal to. That is also a closed dot, so it is less than or equal to. And that's how I would write my set notation. All right, let's try number 2. If so, please pause the video and have the students complete number 2. Give them 3 minutes. All right, let's take a look here. It's a positive 6. R's here, minus 6 on both sides. So I get R is less than negative 14. That one's done. For this one, it's R minus 3. There's the R. Let's not confuse the or in the middle there. It's a negative 3, so I go plus 3. This would be R is greater than negative 7. Now, this is an or statement, so I'm going to shade where there's any line. Okay, it doesn't matter how many of them. I'm going to shade where there's any line. So let's draw my graph. Negative 14's here. Negative 7's here, and then 0's over here somewhere. Open circle on negative 14. And that one goes to the left. Open circle on negative 7. And that's the right arrow, so that one goes to the right. Now remember, we're going to shade where there's any line because it's an or statement. So all that's shaded and all that's shaded. And then we just need to write our set notation with an or in between those. So we have R such that R is less than negative 14 or R is greater than negative 7. 2 more of these together. Let's go ahead and pause the video and give the students 3 minutes to do this problem. Okay, got to solve this first one. So minus 7 on both sides. I get 4a is greater than or equal to 24. Finish him. Divide by 4. I don't need to flip the inequality sign because that's a positive 4. I get a is greater than or equal to 6. So that one's done. Now, it is an or statement, so remember, we're going to shade where there's any line. And the second one's done. That's already finished for me. So I don't got to do anything for that one. Well, let's do our graph. Okay, here's 0, here's 5, here's 6. Okay, on the 6, that is a closed dot, and that one goes to the right. On the 5, that is an open dot, and that one also is the right arrow goes to the right. So I'm shading everything to the right of the 5. So right now, this 6 is not even a border for me. It's just the 5. So when I write my set notation, I only need to talk about this one. A such that A is greater than 5. It is unnecessary and redundant to even talk about the 6. Okay. Last one here. Go ahead and pause the video and complete this problem. Now, remember, these are automatic and statements. So when we graph, we're looking for 2 lines. But we have to break this up. The middle part, remember, goes with both. So this part goes with both problems. Okay, so the first part takes the left and the middle together. So it'd be 2 is less than or equal to G plus 4. Okay. The second one takes the middle and the right side. So it'd be G plus 4 is less than 7. Well, let's solve this. Minus 4 on both sides. I get negative 2 is less than or equal to G. Remember, when we graph, we need that G on the left. So that's how it would look. G is greater than or equal to negative 2. This one, it's minus 4 on both sides. And G is less than 3. So negative 2 is here. 0 is here. 3 is here. For the negative 2, that is a closed dot. And that's the right arrow. It goes to the right. For the 3, that is an open dot. And that is the left arrow, so it goes to the left. Remember, when we shade, we look for 2 lines. And we have 2 lines in the middle of this and statement. So again, you have that special way of writing the middle section. G such that smallest number, letter, biggest number. And you always use versions of less than. The left side, that's a closed dot, so that is a less than or equal to sign. That is an open dot, so that's just a less than sign. And that would be my final answer. Now, with our worksheet, you are going to be working on the study guide. Now, the study guide, thank you. The study guide, you are doing, let me make sure, yep. They both have the same number, okay? Both sides, but you are doing numbers 7 to 12, okay? On both sides. Okay, don't worry about numbers 1 to 6. We are going to do those, but we're going to do those together on Thursday. Okay, so we can talk about some of those. So don't worry about 1 to 6. You are only doing numbers 7 to 12 on both sides. The sub does have answer keys. So if you need to see the answer key, make sure you talk to the sub. That is going to be all for right now. If you have questions, I'll be able to answer them. You can email me, and I will try to answer those questions through email. And I will also answer a lot of questions on Thursday and Friday. All right. Bye-bye. We'll see you.